you can go ahead and you can just graft your papaya plant. Now they become dwarf papaya plant and they will start bearing at a very short level, short stage. So this papaya plant is underneath the cattle panel, and I know it won't do well whenever things start growing on the cattle panel and start to shade out. So I'm going to show you how you can fix this problem. It's about 5 feet in height and it is starting to blossom, bloom a bit. Here we have those tiny blooms coming up there. So we have a few on this plant. Now there are many ways we could go about getting rid of this plant or moving it. I could uproot it. However, papayas are very delicate, and if you should break that tap root on papayas, most time they won't come back. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a bit of grafting with this papaya tree. I've been removing the leaf from this papaya plant because I wanted for this papaya plant to start bearing or to start fruiting at a low stage. I didn't want this papaya plant to get very tall and out of reach when it comes to fruit. I'm going to show you guys an alternative way in which you can get your papaya to be a dwarf papaya and bear low to the ground. The only reason why I'm moving this papaya plant from this location is because I have a trellis right here now. This cattle panel trellis, it is going to shade out the papaya and it won't bear, so it's going to act like a male papaya in the shade. It won't be fruitful, and that is what we want. We want our plants to be fruitful in the garden. This is the uppermost part of the papaya plant. I'm coming all the way down now, just follow me. I'm coming all the way down, and what you have in common, everything up here is totally green. When I come all the way down, then we start to see this brown part. We're going to make our cutting as close as possible to this brown area, and I'm going to explain why in a few. If we should cut all the way up here, it may root. However, this is a younger part of the plant. This is not fully mature. So if we should go down closer to this hard part, as close as possible to it, we're getting into that mature section. We don't want to bore or cut directly in the middle of this trunk right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to come to the side and we're just going to take a slit. So we're just going to go all the way through with the knife and we're going to slit it down. And that's enough. That's about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches of slit that we got there, and we went all the way through with the knife. There's a knife on that side, here's a knife on this side. We come all the way through, and then now we're going to cut here again. And this is the thinner side, not the thicker side of your cutting. So the reason why we had to cut the lower part of this slit that we made is because we need to separate it. Not say fully separate it, but we're going to be forcing a piece of stick all the way through it. This is just a piece of neem limb that fell in the yard, and I'm just going to utilize it now. So I'm just going to shave it down a bit to get it through, because we still don't want that opening to be too wide. And what this will do for most of us is that most of us don't want a forever tall papaya tree going up to the sky. So this will help in harvesting your papayas easier. So now we're right here, and I'm just going to shave this stick down a bit more. What we're going to do, we're going to pass this stick all the way through just to get a opening, because the root system that we're looking for here, they're not going to come on the outside of this trunk. They're going to come directly where we made that slit, right in between. So we're just going to open it up, and we're just going to get our stick all the way through like that. Here in this bucket, I have some peat moss. I'm going to add some water to it. I'm using peat moss because this is what I have, but if you go with coco coir, it will work just as well. So we're going to cover it, and we're going to be using this stick that we put through it as an anchor. And all we're doing here is just getting this peat moss to bond around this entire area that we have here. So we're going to get up everything, and then now once we have it, we're going to keep it close. This is kind of tricky, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie it like this first, just to get that support, and then I'm going to get some cord, and I'm just going to hold up everything. This here should start rooting in another 30 to 45 days. You should have well-structured root where you can cut off the lower part of this plant and then put the upper part into the soil. When you do that, automatically you're going to be getting a dwarf papaya plant. This papaya plant won't grow much further than it is right now. This is one of the simplest way to move over your papayas to containers also, because they're easily controlled. It takes about 35 to 45 days to have root enough where you can come and separate the plant. You're going to cut just below this bag with your peat moss in it or whatever you have in it. You're going to cut below that, and then now you can move that plant. Try not to disturb the roots too much. Cut away these strings, move away the plastic from it, and you can plant it in your pot or in the native soil if you want, wherever you want to. Now you'll be having a dwarf papaya plant. Different plant, same technique. This is an established papaya tree which is bearing fruit. This has been bearing fruit for the past 2 years now. I'm just going to go ahead and get one of these limbs and show you again from an established plant that is already been fruiting and have limbs on it. So this large trunk inside, this is the mother plant. These are the stems that are coming from it. We can't go ahead and use this mother plant anymore because this mother plant is too mature. So I'm going to be using one of these limbs. I'm going to go in for the cut again. And these limbs, they are well established, hence I don't have to go all the way closer to the mother plant to get this cut. So I'm just going to do it here. Now I'm just going to take this slit across. And this plant is very woody, so it is well mature. I just want enough space where I can send that piece of board, that piece of stick, all the way through it. So we have our piece of stick right here, and we're just gonna get it all the way in. Let me get my knife to pilot it through. And we're just gonna get it all the way through. Just like that. We have our moist peat moss now. We're going under piece of stick. We're using it for support, and then we're coming up. Just going to tie the bag around it, and then we use the strings to support everything and get it closely, tightly packed. Even though the stick has punched a hole or 2 holes into the bag and it's losing moisture, it will remain where it is and the roots will form within the peat moss. But if you have ever cut a papaya plant before, you notice it has a lot of water in it. So this papaya plant, where it got slit, will produce enough water to keep that area moist for it to send out root into the peat moss, which is acting as soil for this purpose. So this is what our first papaya plant is looking like, and that's the grafting that we have done. So we should be getting some roots inside there in another 35 to 45 days. So guys, this is a quick one, easy one. If you have a papaya plant in a location that is not desirable, you don't want it in that location, and you want to just move that papaya plant, but it is already established, and you don't want to disturb or break that top root for the papaya plant to die, you can go ahead and you can just graft your papaya plant. Now they become dwarf papaya plant, and they will start bearing at a very short level, short stage for you guys. If you have like any form of disability, this will make it easier for you to get to your fruits. If you're doing container garden, this will make it much easier for you, because then you will have less of a plant in your container to contain and to feed. It's going to be a smaller plant, giving you maximum amount of fruit. If you're thinking about getting your papaya trees to be shorter, you can clip the leaves as they grow. I have that in a few videos, which you can clip the leaves as they grow. However, that will only keep the papayas short for maybe its first two to 3 years. After that, the papaya is just going to start growing again on you guys. If you really want to keep the papayas as a dwarf throughout its entire life cycle, all you have to do is graft them this way, and then you will get those short papayas. So that's it from Country Morrow. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Keep on gardening. Cheers.